Hi, this is Candace Slusher with Slusher Consulting for Non-Medical Home Care. Today, I want to talk about referral sources. They need to be plentiful, both deep and wide. And the reason I bring this up is because we're in early 2026 and effective January, the Veterans Administration, or the VA as we know it, made some major cuts financially to their beneficiaries' benefits, basically to the veterans' benefits. And there were many, many, many agencies who had put all of their eggs into that VA basket and maybe only had honestly 3 or 4 or 5 other referral sources that ever sent them clients. They were just all about the VA because the money was really good. It was flowing free. And now that has stopped. It stopped a little bit in 2024, but it's gotten much worse. And so I just recently saw a whole lot of people going, oh my God, what do I do about getting more clients? We're suffering. We lost 40 to 50% of our revenue because of these VA cuts. And so my first thought was, how could they only have one referral source? How could they only be taking care of one type of client? But you don't know what you don't know. So let's talk about that. Um, First of all, as far as marketing goes, it is not, it's a chore. Okay, I get it. It's a chore, but it's not something that is negotiable. Okay. So there are some states I understand, and I'm learning this more and more, that other states, I'm in Texas, but there are other states whose state programs, the Medicaid and managed care organizations and Medicaid waiver programs, that once you contract with those programs, the state just automatically feeds you clients, sends you clients all the time. Here in Texas, that doesn't happen. And so you can't count on that necessarily depending on where you are and what kind of programs. And many of you don't even do Medicaid and managed care organizations and Medicaid waiver programs. So when we're talking private pay, um, you have to continue marketing all the time. At minimum, it needs to be 50% of all of your administrative time is spent marketing and managing clients. And so that is both bringing in new clients and maintaining the ones that you have. Now, at the beginning, when you're first starting out as an agency, that probably needs to be 80% of the time, right? I've had many people say, what's the viability of this kind of business? How likely am I to succeed? And the answer is not just cut and dry. It's not depending on your market. It's not depending on much of anything except for you and your staff and how much effort you are willing to put into doing that marketing. Um, those who are medical professionals don't like to call it marketing. We don't like to admit that we're salespeople. I get it. I'm a nurse. I think I spent the first 10 years of my 15 years running a large organization, even though my job description was partially marketing, saying, I'm not a marketer. I'm not a marketer. I'm a nurse. I educate, da, da, da. But the truth is, a lot of what you do is sales oriented, whether you know it or not. So don't discount that. If you need to call it something other than marketing to make yourself feel better, like community education, that's fine. But then you need to be spending 80% of your time on community education and letting other people know that you're out there and what you can do for them. So, if you do not currently have a wide casted net of different kinds of referral sources, you need to work on that. That needs to be a plan for this year, for next year, ongoing. Um, just to kind of give a list. So if you are getting all of your clients from hospital case managers or from rehab facilities, that's great because those are a continuous flow. But at the same time, you also need to add home healths and hospices and uh, assisted living and skilled facilities and even independent living and elder law attorneys and aging life professionals and bank trust officers. There are private social workers out there. There are placement agencies and placement professionals out there. All of those people serve the same people you do. So if you're not sure who to talk to, just kind of think about who else in your community serves the same clientele that you serve. And that is going to give you a pretty big list. So when you go out to these networking meetings, um, If it is a senior focused meeting, then chances are anybody who is not your direct competitor is a potential referral source. But you need to have no less than 10 to 15, maybe even 20 different types of referral sources. And then within each of those, if there's more than one elder law attorney in your market, then you need to be talking to all of the elder law attorneys. If there's multiple banks in town who have trust departments, you need to be talking with all of those trust departments, with all of the home health, with all of the hospices, not just one or two. Because if something happens with that one company or that one main contact who's been referring to you, those referrals, that whole line is going to dry up quick. And you're going to be in the same boat that some of these agencies who were only really just focusing on the VA are in now and having to climb out of. So when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time in church. And one of the songs that we sang was, I'm going to sing it. Deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide. And then it goes backward, wide and deep, all that. So that's what makes me think of this is your referral sources need to be wide. There needs to be many, at least 10 to 15 types of referrals who are sending out to you, sending referrals to you on a regular basis. And at least one every 3 months, I would consider a regular basis. Your best referral sources are probably sending you one a month, maybe even two a month. That's amazing. But one every 3 months, if you're getting something from them, they would be considered. But deep then needs to be, need to have some deep relationships with them. So you need to go a little further. You need to make sure that they have as much follow up on the clientele that they sent you as they want. Some of them may say, I'm just sending it to you, set it and forget it, don't want to know what else is going on. But some of them might want to hear some feedback, some success stories, even a challenging story if you had one. Um, once people are referring to you regularly, you probably need to see them, at least touch base with them once a month. Not every week. Weekly is fine. Every 2 weeks is good once until you've established a relationship. But once they start referring to you and they've sent you more than one client, more than once a month is going to feel like nagging or kind of crowding them. If once your relationship is established, let them know you're still here, communicate when it's necessary, but you don't need to just go see them all the time. You can be kind of naggy. But again, you need to have many. And so if you are an established agency, say you have 15, 20 clients, maybe 1,000 hours a week, which is great, then you need to be doing at least 50% of your uh, of your time needs to be spent on marketing. So spend 50% of your time on marketing, marketing and client management, 50% of your time on recruiting and employee management. Um, as you have more staff in the office, right? If you hire someone to do the scheduling, then they are spending 100% of their time on recruiting and employee management and scheduling. And that means you can spend 100% of your time, or at least 80% of your time on marketing and community and client management. Of course, you're going to spend 20% of that time on just running the business and invoicing and overseeing. But just look at the amount of hours that you have working in your office. Okay. If you have a team of 10, just divide all that out by full-time hours in the office. And 50% of that needs to be on bringing in clients and making sure people know who you are because they'll forget. Even your friends, your work friends, will forget who you are and what you do within 2 to 3 weeks if they don't hear from you. And, the long game in marketing for home care is you go and see these people, tell them who you are, what you can do, how you can help. And then if they don't need you right then, you walk out, they go on about their day, and they probably forget about you until the next time they see you. That's not ideal, but it's true. So you need to see them again and hope that they're a little closer to the time when they need you because, out of sight, out of mind. So they're only going to refer to you whenever they have a need. They're not going to make up a reason. They're not going to go out and find somebody to send to you, right? But when they have a need, you want to be close enough to top of mind that you're the one they think of to call. And so you just have to keep at it. It can be tough, it can be challenging, but I'm going to ask you to keep track of who you're seeing, of when you saw them last, of what the plan is to see them next time. You can't just be kind of willy-nilly and, oh, what do I feel like doing today? So here's a couple of KPIs. I would recommend that you make the effort. If you're, say, a solopreneur, there's one of you. If there's multiples of you, then multiply this. But Ideally, a marketing person or the owner or administrator, whoever's running the business and driving the business to your office, needs to be seeing at least 35 contacts a week. Now, that doesn't all have to be in-person contact. If it's somebody you already know, a text, a follow-up, an email, that could be fine. It could be a community event planning if you're doing some sort of, oh, I don't know, if you're planning a mixer or you're helping to plan a conference, that counts. Support groups, committee meetings, community education, follow-up visits and texts. I would aim for at least 5 new contacts a week, people who have never referred to you that you're working on. You're always adding. Once those 5 start referring to you, then you need another 5. Um, but maintenance contacts too. So 35 contacts a week. Now, I am a big fan of networking meetings. I've talked about that before. Seeing 35 people at a networking is not making 35 contacts. Can I be clear about that? Maybe 2, but it's got to be actual contact and communication, not collecting business cards. That doesn't count. Okay. Um, then I just also want you to remember that every client, every caregiver, every vendor, everybody you're already dealing with is potentially able to refer to you as well. If they service the same people you do, then they may know someone who needs you. Okay. And then the last thing is stop doing what we call the $10 tasks. Stop doing the small stuff. If you have an opportunity to delegate, once you get to the point you're able to hire somebody in your office, delegate the stuff to them that can be done, like scheduling and paperwork and payroll. Um, Automate things like reminders, follow-ups, and email blasts. Your priority is to bring clients in. Okay, marketing is the lifeblood of your agency. If you're not talking to people, they're not talking about you. Okay, just because you had a good contact with somebody 2 weeks ago doesn't mean you're crossing their mind at all today or tomorrow when they have a referral. Okay, they're going to refer to most likely whoever they saw last. Until they are established referrals, then you're more likely to get more. But at the beginning, don't assume they remember you because you had a great contact a couple of weeks ago. Okay, and when you go to these networking meetings, again, remember your assignment is to follow up. Okay, you go to networking meetings to meet people, but that's not where the true marketing is done. The true marketing is done in relationships and following up and having coffee with people that you made those connections with. Okay, um, pull out your calendar, pull out your call log, pay attention to how much of your week is spent on sales activity. Um, because the answer of how viable is this business is it depends on you. It depends on how willing you are, how able you are to get out there and let people know what you do. Because in most cases, you just can't expect that, oh, we have a license, people are just going to throw business at us. It's not going to happen. You got to work for it. But if you do, there's a lot of business out there. There's a lot of people who need care. And as long as you've got a good reputation and you're out there communicating, somebody's going to send you referrals. It's going to happen. I've never talked to anyone who says, I just can't get any clients. I don't know what's wrong. And when I ask them, how much time are you spending on marketing? I've never had anybody say, oh, I'm out there 30 hours a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week. That's not the case. They're always like, well, it's 1 or 2 days, a few hours. I probably saw 4 people last week. That's why you're not growing. That's why you're not getting business. So ask the hard questions to yourself and then answer them. Am I doing enough? And if not, add to it. Okay. Don't wait for referrals to come to you. Diversify your sources deep and wide. You need lots and lots of people referring to you. Good luck.